Hello, my name is Mark Zvotek. I'm the Executive Vice President of Grani-Tek Stone Tools here in California in the United States. I'm here to give you a few details about the LMA quartz repolishing system. A few things that we wanted to share. This has not been a quick process to share with our customers. We've been working on this about 24 months to be able to dial it all in, because it's not just the machine, it's the abrasives and everything else as part of the process and some procedures. But first off, let's start talking about the machine. We did a lot of research with the current machines that are out there and that are planetary, and found that no matter what we did, whether it was abrasives or policies or procedures, we found that we left a pattern that could be picked up by the eye in quartz. Whereas the LMA is a random orbital plate. And we felt that's the foundation, the basis for this system. We found that that's the only design that doesn't leave a pattern when you're refinishing the quartz, random orbital. And this is accepted in the solid surface industry as the only way really that they do any surface polishing is random orbital. So once we started with that, then we examined the abrasives. Now, obviously, many of us in the industry are quite familiar with the sponge abrasives that are out there in the 4-inch application when you're working on the edge. Well, we tried that, and as you put the 4-inch abrasives on the bottom of that 10-inch plate, the true random orbital and the size of the plate design really never translated correctly. So we found the factory for the small abrasives that you're familiar with out on the market and asked them to make a 10-inch design for us. When we did that, that was a breakthrough. That translated the random orbital feature immediately to the surface. Now, the one thing we suggest with people to keep in mind is we found in our policies of designing this that these abrasives need to be pre-wet. And then there has to be water on the surface of the actual quartz. Then the random orbital feature will smoothly work. If it's too dry, it will not work as smoothly. So pre-wet your abrasives and put water on the surface. A second thing that we learned as we were designing this system is the fact that in some deep scratches, even when we went to 150 grit on those sponge abrasives, it could not get rid of those scratches at that depth. It tended to transfer the whole 10 inches out and never got past what we needed. So after a lot of research, we zeroed in on a 3-inch ceramic design of pads in 500 and 200 grit. And those were able to get past the deep scratches without any transfer in terms of resin. Conventional pads will leave a transfer of resin. That's why everybody went to white, because you're not going to see it. Well, the ceramics do it because of the resin that it's held in. We found, thirdly, that using that process, when we get past some of the scratches, say, for instance, we had to use a 500, that then the next application is a restoration procedure. When someone goes into the restoration industry from metal to resins, they always go back one resin to make sure that they're able to cover over the actual scratch pattern of the metal. Same thing applies here. For example, if you were to remove the scratches with a 500 grit ceramic, you start out with the 300 grit of the sponge abrasives. And then you're able to transition all the way. If you don't do that, you will not get rid of the substantial pattern that the 500 grit leaves in ceramic. Finally, no, I shouldn't say finally, fourth, we found that at 2000 grit in particular is where a real decision is made according to the color and texture of the material. So as after 2000 grit of the sponge abrasives, you dry it off, you look at it, and some materials, because of their finish or that snakeskin look, by the way, you don't have to use the chemicals with this procedure. is fine after 2,000. That's the cutoff point. That's where you decide. If it needs more polish, then take it all the way up to 10,000. The other thing that is important to remember when we're talking about using these sponge abrasives, it's a restoration procedure that applies to this. If you establish a pattern of polishing, let's say it's 4 times back and forth, north and south, and 4 times east and west, then stick with that as you progress through the grits. That can really jump up and cause you issues if you decide that you start to see a certain amount of polish or finish, whatever term you want to use in the higher grits, and cut back on that pattern. Restoration work is built on quality tools, quality people that know what they're doing, but also sticking with a pattern so that to the eye, it is uniform in the finish that it presents. And finally, on grays, blacks, dark blues, and even some dark browns, we still felt we needed a little bit more in terms of depth. So we spent an awful lot of time looking for the answer. And it didn't come from the States, it actually came from Europe. There's a chemical company called Faber Chemica that has a lot of great products for the porcelain industry and the stone trade. They have a product called Starshine Easy that is designed to polish quartz. When you use that, you're able to get the depth and polish you are looking for in those colors we mentioned. So as you examine whether you want to purchase this or not, you're going to get with the kit the LMA machine. You will get the skirt with the machine. You will get 5 of the 200 grit and 5 of the 500 grit 3-inch ceramic pads. You will get the complete set of the 10-inch sponge abrasives from 150 to 10,000. And you will get 1 kilogram unit or tub of the Starshine Easy from Faber. Thank you for considering the LMA quartz refinishing program from Grani-Tek.